All right, time for the California weather forecast for January 16th. And it looks like there's a couple rain chances for us this week. It'll be interesting to see what's happened to the models for that end of the week storm. I'm sure they've changed since we looked at it yesterday. But we do have some rain coming in right now. You can actually see the little low spinning up here. So that classic counterclockwise rotation almost kind of has that little classic comma shape to it, like you sometimes will see with storms more in the northeast. But look at all those clouds moving into Northern California. I bet if we check the radar, I'm sure there's something on there right now. So let's just zoom in. Yeah, it looks like some rain has moved into Northern California. I'd say the timing on that is pretty much right at this point. Zoom in, see if we could see, it might be a little yellow in there. You see some of that pop up occasionally. That represents the more heavy rainfall. Overall, though, it doesn't look like this is going to be one of those massive storms. At least that's what we were seeing yesterday. That's, I think, the main question that we'll have to answer when we look at some of the maps today. So what I like to do, let's just get an overview of what California looks like and throughout the entire forecast. And then we'll actually probably dive into any warnings that we might have first, look at some summaries, and then we'll dive into the exact timing and totals that are expected. That looks like Robert's already in the chat. Good to see you again, Robert. Let's try to figure out how much rain we might be getting with this first system and then that second system too. So that's the first one. That's the one that's coming through right now with some of the rain already on the radar. The numbers on that look like they're holding true to yesterday, where it's not that much. You look around the Bay Area, the Central Coast, throughout the Central Valley actually looks to get a little bit more rain, around over a half an inch. But widespread, everyone's under an inch. Above an inch on this color map would be in the purple, and we're only really seeing that in the northwestern portions of California. Now, when we checked this yesterday, though, things started to change with the end of the week. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow, so right now the models are still holding up for multiple systems to come through between 19th and the 25th, the 26th. I guarantee the timing on that will change. The question is how much these totals will change, because right now, I think this is actually more rain than what the models were showing yesterday. So this is going all the way out to January 26th. I think it's next Friday, not this Friday. And what's that number up there? Is that a 9? Yeah, 9 inches of rain up in the very northwestern portions of California. Maybe 4 to 5 throughout the Sacramento Valley. And then maybe 3 to 4 in the Santa Cruz Mountains. 2 to 3 around the Bay Area. And then a little bit more showing up for Southern California now. So maybe we'll actually have to go into Southern California in this video, just because now it is showing about 1 to 3 inches for them down there. Yesterday, it wasn't showing much for SoCal. So that's already a change in the models. So that's interesting. Now let's check out the winter weather, total snowfall. See how much we're getting with the first system and then with the end of the week storm. And I don't even think it's correct to say storm as in singular. When we looked at it yesterday, it was successive systems coming in one after the other. So that's what this first one's doing. 6 to 10 inches of snow up in the Sierra. Looks like it's more so down in the central to southern Sierra. Maybe that's just because some of the snow's already fallen up in the northern, so then it's not part of the forecast anymore. Not that much. I'll be interested to check the hazards in a second to see if we even have winter weather advisories up there. So that's through this weekend. Going back. At that point, much of the Sierra gets into the orange, even some yellow up there in Northern California. So that would be more than 2 to 3 feet by January 26th. So, yeah. The end of the week storm is still holding up. That's, I'd say, promising. But now let's check to see if we have any warnings as of right now. And it does look like there's been a few more that have popped up. So, what is this? Hydrologic outlook. I wonder if this has more to do with... That's interesting. Why do we have a hydrologic outlook? Moderate to heavy rainfall will lead to moderate and potentially rapid rises along area streams and creeks. So periods of moderate, this is kind of a lot to read, but we'll try it out. Moderate to heavy rainfall. Okay. That's the most important part right there. When? Friday through Monday. So this is already warning about the end of the week storms. This isn't about the one coming in today. That's why I was a little bit confused at first. Saw the widespread hydrologic outlook, which means a lot of rainfall could lead to some swelling of your creeks and rivers, could lead to some flooding. And I was thinking the system coming in today, it shouldn't do that. It's around a half an inch. I think we could handle that. But this is for the end of the week system. So I think it's a bit early to make that call. If I were them, I maybe would have waited till at least Wednesday or Thursday. What day is today? Tuesday? Yeah. That's a little early considering what happened last week. Last week we had basically the exact same setup where there was a huge storm in the forecast for the weekend saying we're going to get 5 to 7 feet of snow. And then by the time that system came around, the models had completely changed and it was 1 to 2 feet of snow. So maybe this means that now I want to give them some credit. Maybe this means that there's a lot more convergence among the models than with the system last week. Like last week, maybe the GFS was saying one thing, the ECMWF was saying another thing. Whereas if they're both saying the same thing, that these storms are going to be coming in this weekend, then you can have a little bit more confidence and then might be able to issue a hydrologic outlook multiple days out. Although I usually like to wait before I lock in any timing and totals. So this could be interesting to read because this is going to summarize those end of the week storms. I'll zoom in so you can read it too. Periods of moderate to heavy rainfall will bring the potential for moderate to rapid rises along area rivers, streams, and creeks across the regions. This could result in nuisance as well as minor flooding. Although most sites are forecast to remain below flood stage, that's good news there. Some locations may reach monitor stage, especially in Sonoma County. The system will result in an increased risk of shallow landslides as soils near saturation across the Bay Area. Latest model guidance suggests the coastal ranges will receive the greatest accumulation of precipitation. All right, here's the totals. Rainfall totals will range from 1.5 to 3 inches across most areas, with 3 to 5 inches expected over the North Bay. Locally, up to 5 to 7 inches over favored peaks and higher terrain of the North Bay, and 4 to 6 inches in the Santa Cruz and Santa Lucia Mountains. And the timing on that again, Friday through Monday. So they're starting to get a little confident about this system that's coming in. Now, it makes sense that the one coming in today, though, is not that intense because even up in the mountains where we're seeing some decent snowfall, I don't know if I'd call it decent. We don't have any winter storm warnings or anything like that for that system today. That's the rainfall forecast right there for Friday to early next week, though. They're showing a lot of red on this map, which represents more than 3 to 4 inches. So there might be a little atmospheric river component to this as well. Let's read the forecast discussion. We'll just check out the summary real quick. Locally foggy conditions this morning, otherwise light rain developing today into Wednesday morning. Yeah, light. Look that way on the radar for the most part, and by the time it moves south, it'll be even lighter. Better rain chances this weekend into the beginning of next week. So that's the Bay Area. Now let's take a look at the Sacramento office. You can get a better look at, that's a freezing fog advisory. And then we do actually have a winter weather advisory down here, but let's see if that's for this first system or the next one. So in effect from 7 p.m. this evening to 7 a.m. Wednesday above 7,000 feet. Total snow accumulations up to 10 inches. Winds gusting as high as 50 miles per hour. Okay, 7 p.m. tonight, 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. Just that little bit right there though. And then in terms of the precipitation forecast, So this is the Tuesday, Wednesday system, so the one coming in today. 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch around a bunch of the Bay Area. Maybe 1/2 an inch to an inch in places like Chico. And then, yeah, that looks to be about it. So it's going to be one of those systems that's mostly beneficial. And then in terms of snow, they're going minor impacts. And it looks like where you have maybe more snow coming in is where we have that winter weather advisory. But it's not as widespread as those last systems. So yeah, beneficial system today. Let's just take a quick peek at their forecast discussion and their summary, and then we'll check out some of the maps, break down the exact timing and total. And I'd say I'll be most interested to look at this weekend because it's interesting that the National Weather Service has already thrown up some advisories about it. I should say outlooks about it. Rain and high elevation snow returns today and lingers into Wednesday. Active weather picks up by the weekend. That's a good way to put it. I like the Sacramento office right there. One thing I did want to see, I want to see what snow levels they're going today. 6,500 to 8,000 feet, lowering to 5,000 to 6,000 feet. So it seems like there will be a little cold air filling in maybe behind the front, but not that cold. Remember, I think it was last Tuesday and Wednesday, once those systems came in, our snow levels dropping down to 2,000, 3,000 feet. So it's not that cold out there. And I actually noticed that this morning. Doesn't feel that cold right now. So now, without further ado, let's check out the timing and totals on our system. So we already know that there's some rain moving in. Let's see what time it is right now. It's about 1 o'clock, so let's fast forward to 1 o'clock. That's pretty close to what the radar looks like right now. Some areas of heavy rain up in Northern California, but overall, it's light to moderate. It shows that by about 7 p.m., what you could call the front looks to be stretching from the Bay Area up into the Sierra. Could be some periods of heavy snowfall, but overall, doesn't look like it's all that much. That's again 7 p.m. tonight. That's where the rain looks the most widespread. And then where we had that winter weather advisory, that's at 10 p.m. tonight, so that's within the window of that winter weather advisory. That kind of explains why. That is the heaviest snowfall that we're going to see with this system. But overall, light to moderate rain for most people. And then it looks like the rain does continue all the way into 1 p.m. on Monday up in the very northwestern portions of the state. But by about 7, I think I said Monday. I meant to say Wednesday right there. By about 7 a.m. on Wednesday, it looks like it's basically cleared up for the Bay Area. So this is moving in this evening for Bay Area, much of the Central Valley, peaking probably around 7 p.m., 10 p.m. tonight, then tapering off overnight tonight. And then, let's go. Problem with the Wi-Fi, and looks like we're back connected again. Alright, so let me know in the chat if you can see me again. I think we're all good. I have my other screen up and I can see me talking, so hopefully you can hear me. Maybe a little power outage. So, I don't know how much you missed. Let's just start over. There's the first system coming through today. And then we get into Wednesday, Thursday, not much going on. And then, thanks for letting me know, Robert. Sounds like we're all good. And then Friday afternoon into Friday evening, it shows the first of the weekend systems coming through. And then it looks like continued rain, kind of on and off here and there. And then the next system, 1 p.m. on Sunday. And that one actually looks to be the bigger of... That one looks to be bigger than Friday's as of right now. So system today looks minimal. Friday's looks a little bit bigger than today's, and then Sunday looks the biggest. Oh wow, look at some of that purple showing up in the mountains. That'll give us some good snow, bring our snowpack back up. That's great in terms of water supply. Our best reservoir in California is the snowpack, because then it can slowly melt into our fuels even as we get into wildfire season. It's like delayed moisture release, which is exactly what we need. And then it's also good for filling up the other reservoirs, and that ends up helping our farming and all sorts of things. So that's now all the way into Monday. Looks like it lightens up Monday, and then another system forecast for Tuesday. So I think it was the Sacramento office that said it well. They said active pattern on the way. So now let's check out the rain totals expected with this. This is the first one. San Francisco, half an inch. This is one coming through this afternoon, overnight tonight, diminished by tomorrow morning. Chico, 0.7. Redding, 0.6. Sacramento, 0.5. Stockton, 0.7. San Jose, barely anything. And then obviously more up in the northwestern portions of the state, about 2 to 3 inches up there. Now let's go through the weekend, and you just see it keeps adding on and keeps adding on. So that's all the way out to next Friday, January 26th. And at that point, it's showing 5 inches for Eureka, 7 inches for Redding, 5 inches for Chico, around 3 inches for Sacramento, widespread 2 to 3 inches in the Bay Area, and then maybe 3 to 4 inches up in the Santa Cruz Mountains. So, yeah, that could obviously lead to some hazards out there. We could see some flooding. The National Weather Service is already talking about that. But we are below average in terms of our rain and snow right now in California. So I'd say this is good for a couple reasons. One, we need to make up some of the difference that we've lost so far this season, get us back to average. But it's also, I'd say, well, the Sunday system looks like it could be a pretty decent storm. We're not picking all of this up in one storm. If that was the case, we'd have just widespread flooding, landslides, mudslides, all sorts of stuff. But it looks like it's actually spread out into 3 or 4 different systems, which allows the soils to absorb more of the rainfall, so then less of that rain turns into runoff and flooding. So if we had to get this much rainfall, which we do want to get, this is kind of the way to get it, which is multiple storms as opposed to just one big one. So now let's check the total snowfall. This will give us a closer in view. So that's the first one coming through today. Most of it down in the central to southern Sierra where we had the winter weather advisory. And where on the map we did see some periods of heavy snowfall. Then the first system, second system, third system. And that's where we end up by next Thursday, January 25th. Seeing a lot widespread purple. So looking at our color bar, that's 1 to 2 feet. And then you're also seeing a lot of orange on this map, which would be 2 to 3 feet, maybe even more than that. So it looks like there could be a lot of snow on the way. Now let's just take a quick peek at Southern California. Let's look at their air quality alert. Not much going on down there. Let's see the forecast discussion. Look for mild weather. So this is the LA office now. Look for mild weather with partly to mostly cloudy skies and a warming trend today. Another weak system is expected to bring gusty winds, but little chance of rain on Wednesday. So today's system, not really going to make it down. There's not that much moisture and intensity, so by the time it goes through the central coast, a lot of it's already been squeezed out. Fair skies and seasonal temperatures are expected on Thursday and Friday. Periods of rain are likely across most of the area Friday night through Monday. So they're calling for Southern California to be able to get some of this next system as well. We'll just click through. I don't know why it always skips down when I try to click on that. It's the first one. Yeah, you see how it just disappears as it moves down into Southern California. And then Thursday, not much going on. That's now Friday at 4 p.m. You start to see that system move in, and yeah, some of the rain finds its way down into Southern California. That's 10 p.m. on Saturday. It's stretching from Los Angeles to San Diego. Looks like light to moderate rainfall. And then the next one, that's the bigger of the two systems. The one that's coming in, that's 7 p.m. on Sunday for much of the central coast. And then it spreads out through San Luis Obispo, then to Santa Barbara. That's now getting into 1 a.m. on Monday. And then 4 a.m. on Monday, it looks like we have the chance for some heavy rainfall down in Southern California. While I say that is a ways off in the forecast, so I guarantee the timing and totals on this will change. But it is just interesting to see that that's different than what the models were showing yesterday. That's almost evidence that the models change, because we weren't seeing much for Southern California before. Now it looks like they have a decent chance. Let's see at how much. See how that's multiple waves of storms right there. Over an inch for LA, 2 inches for San Diego, 2 inches for Santa Maria, 1.5 for Bakersfield, 2 inches for Fresno, and then the little yellow spots are in the Santa Cruz Mountains and kind of the Big Sur area, which is where you'd expect. That's usually where we see our largest rainfall totals. Interested to see if we get any snow down in Southern California, because that'll give us an idea of if these systems are exceptionally cold or not. So there's a little bit. You see that little purple right there? That's 1 to 2 feet potentially, and then a lot of orange down in the Southern Sierra, which could be more than 2 to 3 feet. So that is something to watch right there. But overall, I think that pretty much sums it up. I think I'll just end on these two graphics, because that storm, we're kind of just looking at it for fun today. But it is good to know that there may be something going on between Friday and next Monday, maybe even stretching into next Tuesday, Wednesday. So keep that in mind. We'll continue to follow that every single day this week. But the first thing that is on our mind is what's happening today. There's already rain moving into Northern California. That's going to move down through the Bay Area, Central Valley, Central Coast as we get into this evening. And then it tapers off overnight tonight. By tomorrow morning, pretty much looks like it's wrapped up. And these are your rainfall totals. Most cities between 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch. Some parts of the Central Valley could get 1/2 inch to 1 inch with this one, but we're not seeing any warnings for that. Where we'll have to watch some warnings will be with the potential storms coming in Friday through next Monday, especially maybe on Sunday. That looks to be the biggest as of right now. And then in terms of the snow forecast, minor impacts expected, but we do have some areas where we could get maybe 6 to 10 inches. And we did have a winter weather advisory there from 7 p.m. tonight until 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. So this first system, mostly beneficial. We'll have to keep an eye on this weekend to see if we have some hazards pop up. But yeah, we'll see what happens there, because the models have been changing a lot this year. It looks like Lucy's now on the chat too. How's it going, Lucy? But I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to do a little short form video. So if you're just tuning in the live stream, you can watch the short form video and pretty much get the gist of everything I just said in 1 minute or less. So hopefully you guys all have a great day today, and thanks for watching.